Welcome back to the channel. Today I got a super dope video for you guys because yet again we have the Inspire 2. Right now we're at a really sick spot in Half Moon Bay. We came at the absolutely perfect time. Right now it's about 8 o'clock, so we have about 30 to 40 minutes of good daylight and some good blue hour to shoot. And today obviously we have the Inspire 2 with the X7 Zenmuse camera, and in addition we also have the Mavic 3 Pro here. And it's really sick because I just got some new filters in the mail. Here are the Freewheel ND filters for the Mavic 3 Pro. I have ND 8, 16, 32, and 64. And in addition, I also have the Glow Mist. It's kind of like a Black Pro Mist for your Mavic drone. So right now, I just kind of want to talk about the main differences between these two drones. Obviously, the Inspire 2 is a much bigger drone. It's a lot harder to set up. It's so much bigger, but you have that awesome camera. It's a Super 35 sensor. You can shoot all the way up to 5K cinema DNG, although you do have to pay extra for that license. On this drone rental right now, I only have the ProRes 422 unlocked, and I'm gonna be shooting in 4K 24, and I'm gonna be shooting in D-Log onto the SSD, so that's really awesome. So the main differences between these two drones are obviously the camera. The Inspire 2 carries that X7 Zenmuse camera or X5, but those are really good cameras. And I really like these cameras because you can actually use real filters with them. As you can see right here, this camera, the Zenmuse X7, takes real filters. I think this is a 52 diameter filter, so you could buy a real Black Pro Mist, you could buy black satin, you can also add on your own ND filters of your choice. On the Mavic 3 Pro, you're much more restricted. You really do have to stay to those like drone companies like Polar Pro or Freewheel for your filter options. So I'm really curious to see how the Glow Mist looks later at sunset with the Mavic 3 Pro. But yeah, overall we're just gonna have some fun. Obviously we don't have too much light, but we have a really nice sunset here. So I just wanna show you guys the main differences between these two drones. I'm gonna launch this guy. I have 2 sets of batteries for this. I'm just gonna mess around, get the best shots I can. And then Yusuke, who's behind the camera right now, he's also gonna be getting some Mavic 3 Pro shots. So I really wanna show you guys the difference in quality between these two drones. Obviously I know I did this kind of video before, but all of those shots were out of focus on an Inspire. So I really wanna run it back, get some redemption, and really show you guys a proper comparison between the Inspire 2 and a regular Mavic 3 Pro. So without further ado, let's get it. All right guys, so one interesting thing about the Inspire 2 is the gimbal camera comes separately. It's not like a Mavic, it's not attached all the time. You actually do have to separate it, especially when you're packing it up. So here's the gimbal right now. I have the 24mm DJI DL lens. So to line it up, you just put the white to the red and you lock it up like that. Cool. And we're pretty much good with that. Next, one thing to keep in mind is the Inspire 2 uses kind of like a dinosaur remote. This thing really reminds me of the original FPV control. It's a little bit clunky. You have to use your phone, but honestly it has some pretty cool features. You can do HDMI out. You could connect a little GPS module in case you want to do like a dynamic home point. I'm not going to use that. But the app is a little bit old and clunky, but definitely gets the job done. So I'm going to go ahead and turn on the drone right now. I'm going to be shooting at 24 FPS, full field of view. I'm gonna choose ProRes 422 HQ. I would shoot in Cinema DNG, however, I did not have that unlocked. You have to pay extra. I'm gonna be shooting in 4K 16:9 aspect ratio, D-Log, and EI mode, which is good as well. And white balance 5600. Next, I'm gonna go ahead and lower my ISO. Change my shutter speed to 1/50. And yeah, everything's all good to go. I think we're ready to take off now, and I am launching now. I would say they are pretty similar drones. Although the Inspire 2 is obviously way bigger, I really like how they both have that manual aperture control. So you could really dial in your exposure. You could really get creative. The Inspire 2 is so freaking fast. Right now I'm flying in sport mode. And I am absolutely flying right now. All right guys, that was kind of scary. The Inspire 2, it actually uses a system called Lightbridge 2. It doesn't quite have OcuSync 1 or 2 or 3, so the connection is definitely not that good. Like I just went over that hill right there. I'm not even that far, and yeah, I kind of lost connection over there, so that was a little bit scary. So the Mavic 3 Pro definitely is way better connection with that new OcuSync 3. It's absolutely amazing. So, but one really interesting thing about the Inspire 2 is even though I'm using my phone controller, I could really see the dynamic range and just the beauty of the camera on here. I mean, the image just looks so good and like so cinematic. It really has a good sensor. It's so good at retaining those shadows and retaining the highlight details. I really like this camera. I really like the sensor on the Inspire 2 because even though I don't have any Black Pro mist, I can just see on my camera right now that it just looks really filmic. It looks just like really nice and soft, honestly. I like that. One thing I noticed about this Inspire in particular is the guy who I rented it from, he does not take really good care of his batteries. Like they're starting to get kind of puffy, and sometimes the drone actually gives me warnings that the batteries aren't good. So this does feel a little bit risky, and I'm noticing that the drone senses that the batteries are no good. It's literally reducing my power, it's reducing my speed. So that is one thing to keep in mind, is you really want to keep your batteries fresh, good batteries, especially if you want to have more reliability. But I'm seeming to have pretty good results with these batteries, but I'm gonna drop it off tomorrow, so I'm pretty good. I'm gonna land now at 33%, but overall, I could definitely see why people want to invest in Inspire 3. It's just an Inspire 2, just on steroids, everything all updated, technology to the newest standard. Because flying this thing, it feels a little bit sketchy. Like just over there, I still have line of sight, but I'm still getting a choppy feed. It feels a little bit unpredictable sometimes, and that's the last thing you want when you're flying your drone. The Mavic 3 Pro, everything is just so seamless. It's so easy to fly around, your connection is so good. So I think that's one really important difference between these two. Because especially when you're flying such a fat drone like the Inspire 2, you definitely want to have the best feed, the most reliable feed and connection you can have. All right guys, right now I want to replicate a really sick shot I got on the Inspire 2, where I kind of start with a top-down shot. I go backwards along the cliffside, and then I slowly go down and also tilt the camera up. So let's try this out. All right guys, so overall, I'm gonna let you guys decide which image is better. Obviously, I think the Inspire is gonna be better, but the main difference is the Inspire 2 is for like commercial gigs. The Inspire 2 is for clients that want that, you know, that 5K cinema DNG. They want that raw, they want those lens options, they want the best image quality possible. But in the end, it really comes down to what kind of form factor you want. All right, what's up guys? We just got to the location. I know the spot, the launching spot doesn't look that sick, but honestly, this is probably the best vantage point here. We have a really good vantage point all the way over there, along the coastline, to the left, to the right. We're gonna have really good connection here. I know it's not the prettiest spot, but that's why we have the drones, because the drones are gonna be able to fly and get really sick shots. But we wanna make sure that we're at a nice, safe location to launch from. We decided to park along the highway here. It's pretty low key here. Obviously there's some cars driving back and forth, but it's no big deal. We're just gonna fly our drones here. And I was a little bit worried because when we were coming in here, it was so foggy along those roads. So I thought we were screwed and we'd have to just turn around. But once we kind of went further along the highway, the fog finally started to clear up, and I think we're gonna get a really good sunset. We have about 30 minutes, so we don't have too much time, but I really wanna test out these drones in blue hour, in low light conditions, in the fog. That's why these kind of drones are so good, because they're really good with low light. When you fly with GoPro and FPV, it's not so good with low light. Once you start hitting blue hour and nighttime, the footage starts to get really noisy, really grainy, but these drones do really well. So we actually have about an hour of filming because we have 30 minutes left of light and then 30 minutes of blue hour. So I think we're good. I'm gonna have Yusuke here set up the Mavic 3 Pro here, and I'm gonna go ahead and do the Inspire 2. So let's get it. All right, guys, I'm gonna get ready to set up the Inspire 2 here. Obviously, the biggest difference between these two drones is the Mavic 3 Pro is all just one package, ready to go. Yusuke's already ready to launch, and Yusuke, you can launch. Yeah, you can launch already right now.
All right.
Just format the SD card, and for this test, we're gonna be shooting in D-Log for both cameras. So we're gonna shoot D-Log here and D-Log on the Inspire maybe. We might just do some 709 each too. What do you think, Yusuke? Should we shoot D-Log or regular?
D-Log. Let's do.
Okay, yeah.
Fancy. Let's go fancy.
So yeah, Yusuke is gonna be shooting on D-Log. I'm gonna shoot D-Log here. It's gonna take a little bit extra work in post, but I think that's how you get the best colors out of the drone here.
Yeah.
So that should be fine. Here we got the beast here. Press this button about like 8 times to retract the landing gear. Boom. And honestly, it's a little bit dark here, so I'm gonna go ahead and actually pop off this ND filter. We don't need ND right now, we're good. Next, we're gonna put our propellers. And it makes it really easy because they're color coordinated here. Red goes to red. Make sure everything clicks here. Right now is what you call a pre-flight check. I'm checking everything, double checking our propellers, making sure everything's good. Because the last thing we want is the propellers to fail and this thing to end up in the ocean. So that's why you gotta take your time on this as usual. With drones, it's all about doing pre-flight checks. And now we are ready to power on the drone now. So yeah, obviously this thing is a lot more work. It draws a lot more attention. Yusuke's already been up the air for about 5 minutes. He's already getting shots. I've been doing my pre-flight checks, making sure everything's all ready to go here. And I'm actually gonna calibrate the compass again here. Boom. I call this the drone dance.
The weird dance.
Okay.
Oh my god.
Unfortunately, guys, I only have one lens with this drone right now, but it's all good because this quality is literally Hollywood quality. I mean, this drone was built for filmmaking. It's built for movies, built for commercials. So let's see if the quality is a lot more different than the Mavic 3 Pro. I think it will be. Okay, finally, good, I see it. Oh, that was scary, guys, because I'm not really that familiar with this drone yet, and it is a little bit more clunky to use versus the Mavic 3 Pro. And also, I'm just way more used to flying the Mavic 3 Pro, so honestly, I got a little bit scared, because obviously this drone is about $6,000–7,000 with all the equipment, so whew, it's a little bit scary. And also because I haven't really tested its return to home features quite yet. Maybe I'll try that out just to see if it works. So it's gonna go to its preset altitude and then it should come home. I just wanna make sure it works all right because that was kind of scary. When you're flying in this kind of environment and everything's all foggy, it's really hard to see the drone, so that was a bit scary. I just wanna confirm that the return to home is working, okay. It's rising up to the cell altitude, which I had at 300 meters. Okay, that's cool. You just go ahead and press cancel, honestly. All right, guys, that was kind of scary. So when you're flying a drone this expensive, you definitely want to keep your line of sight, honestly. Because before I went all the way out there, I kind of got lost in the sauce and I actually literally got lost in the fog. So yeah, keep that in mind. Another really cool feature about the Inspire 2 is it has 3 different flight modes. And it's actually kind of different from the regular Mavic 3. Obviously you have the regular GPS mode where it just kind of holds its position, which is really useful, like a regular Mavic. Then you have sport mode. Obviously, we know sport mode, you go super fast. And lastly, you have ADI mode, which I really like. ADI mode is sick, but it's also kind of dangerous. Once you press ADI, you'll notice the drone just starts drifting. It literally just goes with the wind. Wherever the wind is pushing it, it goes. And I know you might think like, oh, why would you want something like that? And the reason for that is when you're getting a lot of smooth cinematic shots, sometimes you don't want the drone to stop abruptly. You kind of want it to flow and flow freely even after you stop giving it input. So a lot of pro users also use that feature. Flying the Inspire is so sick, honestly. Like, I want to be honest, I've been getting kind of bored of flying Mavics because I fly them all the time for real estate and just for regular work. So flying a huge drone like this, like a huge Mavic, is pretty fun. I mean, you could really feel the weight of this thing. And it feels kind of intense just knowing how expensive this rig is and also knowing the image quality I'm getting out of this thing. So I really like flying this thing. And so far I'm getting pretty good battery life. I've been flying for about like 8 minutes, I think. 50%. Alright guys, this is super sick. There's actually a deer up there and I'm filming it with the Inspire 3 right now. And Yusuke is getting BTS of me filming it, so that's gonna be really sick. Honestly, the more experience I get with the Inspire, the more I realize like it's not really that big of a deal. It's just like flying a Mavic. It's just a few more extra pieces. It's a little bit louder, a little bit more powerful, but at the end of the day, it's no different than flying a regular Mavic or Mini 3. It's the same principles of flying. You just gotta be responsible. And these past few weeks, I've gotten the chance to really understand the Inspire platform on a whole nother level. I mean, I've been flying it a handful of times. I had the chance to look over a lot of the footage. And obviously, I've been flying the Mavic 3 Pro a lot as well for work and also for fun. So I feel like I'm in a really good place where I can really give you guys some firsthand experience and some true knowledge as to what I think of the difference between the Inspire versus Mavic 3 Pro is. And overall, I think they're very different drones. It's like comparing like an Arri Alexa to an A7S III. I mean, obviously, if you know how to use an A7S III, you can get really good results, but at the end of the day, they're very different tools. Arri Alexa, a Red camera, those are true cinema cameras, and those are used for real productions. And I'm not saying that by buying a real cinema camera is going to make you automatically a industry professional DP already. For example, I bought a Red Komodo about 1 or 2 years ago with the hopes of doing more commercial work, doing more short films, and to be completely honest, I did probably like a few commercial gigs, a few short films, but honestly, it didn't really help build my career that much. I mean, in the end, I am a drone pilot, and that's why I'm so excited about the Inspire platform, because I think that by having an Inspire, it's really gonna help me level up. And what I mean by that is, just by buying this drone, it's not automatically going to allow me to pick up these new jobs instantly. People aren't just gonna hit me up all of a sudden, but I think by graduating to the Inspire platform, I honestly feel like it's really gonna help me grow my career, because as you guys know me, I'm definitely a drone pilot. Like, I'm also a cinematographer. Obviously, I do gimbal work, I do some camera work, but I'm really finally starting to kind of establish my space in the filmmaking industry in the Bay Area niche as the drone pilot. I'm the drone guy. I'm the aerial DP. So I think by having the Inspire 3, it's really going to help me land more jobs, honestly. It's not gonna happen instantly, obviously, but I think by having the Inspire platform in my toolkit, I feel like people are really gonna start reaching out to me and really starting to offer me more serious jobs, because I'm at the point now where people are finally starting to book me for some more expensive Mavic jobs. I was just in Oregon last week. I'm going to Seattle next week. So like, I'm finally starting to land some really sick traveling gigs with my Mavic 3 Pro. So I really want to use this momentum, I'm in a really special place in my life right now. So I think right now is the best time, better than ever, to graduate to the Inspire platform. And that's why these past few weeks have been so valuable for me, because I really wanted to try out the Inspire. I really wanted to get more experience, more hours on it, to decide if that's the kind of platform I really want. And honestly, I really enjoyed flying the Inspire. You guys know me, I've been doing a lot of FPV lately. I've been just doing a bunch of small drone stuff, but at the end of the day, I realized that the cinema drone, like an Inspire, Alta X's, those really slow cinematic shots, and even really sick sports shots, all those cool tracking shots, those are really still in high demand as a drone pilot. Obviously, FPV is new, it's taking over. People love FPV for action sports, but honestly, at the end of the day, I don't see like classic drone moves from an Inspire going out of fashion. I mean, for car commercials, movies, TV shows, sports, you name it, all those industries need those simple, slow-moving cinematic shots, and that's where the Inspire is so awesome. Because at the end of the day, like, you really do want to pixel peep, especially on social media, to see the difference between the two. But personally, after looking at the footage, especially during the daytime, the Inspire 2 is just a whole nother system. It's like night and day. Like when I'm watching Inspire footage, it's like watching my Red Komodo footage. I mean, it just looks so beautiful. It looks so filmic without even putting a black pro mist. And I could put a black pro mist if I want to, like a real one, or a black satin filter, you name it. Like the image just looks so much more natural, so much more filmic. I'm really happy I was able to make this video again a year later with a lot more experience as a drone pilot in the industry, and also a lot more experience and hours on the Inspire 2 itself, because although obviously the Inspire 2 has its drawbacks, and obviously it's a 6 to 7 year old drone, that drone was still really legendary, and it's still a really great drone today if you're able to deal with its setbacks. For example, the Lightbridge 2 is not reliable. Obviously, I know people have those patch antenna hacks, but let's be honest, when you're paying that much for a drone, you don't have to do third-party hacks on the transmission system. You want a really good transmission, updated, really good HD transmission from your drone, especially when it's that expensive. So the Inspire 2 really lacks in its transmission. The bird itself is kind of old, it's getting a little bit clunky. The FPV camera obviously sucks. And also the app in general, the DJI Go 4 app is a little bit clunky, it's a little bit buggy, and the UI is not the best. So I'm really happy I was able to really make this video a year later with my newfound experience, because by finding Inspire 2, I was able to realize that the camera is just absolutely amazing on there. With the X7 camera and the DL lenses, I had the 24mm, but you can also get the 35, 50. You can get really great images if you know what you're doing. I know some people complain that the Inspire platform doesn't have continuous autofocus, but I think that's okay because you can literally attach a focus puller to it, or you can just use a touch to focus and shoot at a high F number. So there's always workarounds if you know what you're doing. But by flying the Inspire platform, I was able to really understand its true power. I mean, although the bird itself is a little bit outdated, that X7 camera is still absolutely amazing. But I'm really excited to get the Inspire 3. I think it's really gonna help me build up my career. And honestly, it's just gonna be so much fun to fly that bird because flying the Inspire 2 is nothing compared to flying these drones. I mean, these drones they're so easy, they're just kind of like toys in the end, but the Inspire is no joke. It's literally DJI's top of the line cinematic filmmaking drone. That thing is no joke. So I am really happy about all this, honestly. And I know you guys know me, I love FPV, I love flying FPV, but honestly, this whole Inspire experience got me just really excited about this whole thing. And I've also been doing so much research. I feel like I've watched almost every video on YouTube about it. I've been on all the Facebook forums, I've been on Reddit searching for any information I possibly could. I've even been messaging other drone pilots that also have the Inspire 3, like Ross has a drone, some other companies, and everyone seems to like it. I know it's a really expensive drone, but I feel like it's really gonna be worth it for me because with that kind of equipment in this industry, you can really make the money back. Not necessarily quick, depending on your place in the industry, but I mean, when you have a drone that good, it's like, I can't even describe the possibilities you can do with it. I mean, I'm just so excited for this, guys. I really hope you guys will stay tuned because I'm gonna be doing a lot of Inspire 3 content. You guys know me, I love flying. I'm gonna be doing so many tests around here. I love flying around the Bay Area, but I'm gonna travel with that thing. And yeah, another thing I really learned about the Inspire 2 is it's really not that intimidating. I know so many people are like, oh my God, it's so big. It's so freaking huge compared to a Mavic. I mean, obviously that's true, but like, when you think about it, it's not that big. Like people literally put the Inspire 2 and 3 in the low pro drone backpack. You can literally go hiking with it. All you need is the drone, a bunch of TB51 batteries, the RC Plus, the gimbal, and a few lenses. Like it's not that crazy. You can put it on a carry-on in the airplane. You could check it in. I mean, when you think about the quality and the image you're getting from that drone, that thing can literally be compared to the Alta X, the Matrice 600. That thing's kind of old, but you know what I'm saying? Like you used to have to literally transport a huge freaking drone like the Alta X to get these kind of shots. But now the Inspire, I know it's bigger than this, but it's still pretty portable when you consider the value and the kind of shots you can get with that thing. So, all right guys, so I think that's about it. Thank you guys for listening to this rant. I hope you guys learned something about this, but I've basically been living, breathing Inspire these past month, honestly. I've been doing so much research. I've been thinking about it so much. I've been really contemplating the return on investment I could do. I'm really trying to figure out the logistics of the drone, see if I can make it work, what kind of accessories I want to get with the Inspire 3, but hope you guys learned something from this last rant bit. I know it's a lot of talking, but these are just my honest, true thoughts. I'm not paid by DJI. I only have 900 subs right now. All of my equipment I buy with my own money. The Inspire 3, I'm gonna buy that with my own money. Everything in this video, I paid for it myself. I paid people to rent it. I borrowed it from my friend. I mean, I'm not sponsored. No one's telling me to say this information. This is all my own true thoughts. And I mean, you guys know DJI. DJI is so freaking awesome. I'm a little bit bummed out that they are trying to ban it, but I feel like that's not going to be for a few more years. So I think this is the perfect time to get the Inspire 3. So I'm not going to get it quite yet. Obviously, I have to figure out some logistics, but very soon, guys. So make sure you stay tuned for the Inspire 3 content. But overall, please be sure to follow me on Instagram at Lucizen Visuals. You guys can send me a message. I'm super chill guy, I'm down to talk about anything. And also be sure to like this video, hit subscribe, put a comment. Let's build the algorithm because I'm almost at 1K now. So the more subs, the more kind of videos I can make about this. So I really appreciate you guys, and I'll see you guys on the next video. See ya.